So our objective of this particular session was to tell people about how they can improve their pitch to the potential clients so that they can actually understand how they are better than anybody else. And I think this is the biggest problem that people face, or most of the people face, that what to do or what to say or what to show so that the clients, in this case when we talk about the corporations who genuinely file a lot of patents, how they select you in comparison to anybody else. So we'll be talking about few of the strategies in this session. And so that you know who you are hearing in this session. So my name is Deepak. I am one of the director at GreyB Services, and good morning to all of you. 4 different strategies. Let me take some paper to talk about. 4 main strategies here. So let's start with the first one. When we approach a particular company, the biggest problem is we do not talk about the weakness or the problems that they are facing. We talk about what the things that we are good at. Absolutely no. The first thing that you should do is prepare yourself to talk to that client. That means do some research and figure out that what are the problems. And in majority of the cases, if you ask me, even they are not aware of the problem. So when you tell them about their problems, they automatically form a relationship with you. So let me take an example. So if you are approaching a particular corporations which have, for example, hundreds of patents, and you want to tell them, or if you want to approach them for selecting you as a potential law firm to handle their patents, you should, before you start talking about your good points or how well you handle, if you can talk about that, how that particular company can improve, that should be the starting point. So let's look at this example. So if you plot all the patents of a particular company and represent them in a manner that how many number of office actions that they got and what was their grant time, you can easily figure out few applications that were much above the average number of office actions. So what I mean by a much above the average number of office action is some of these office actions could be like 13, 14, and 15, and you would not believe there are many such kind of patents that exist in the portfolio. And companies are totally not aware of these because they are handling so many cases that they can hardly actually care, or they are aware that this is something happening. Now, when you approach them, and if you can tell them that these are the cases and the reason behind why so much of money was spent on these cases, you have got their trust. So the first thing is to get their trust. So identify those office actions or the patents which have exceeded the average number of office actions, and then provide your solution that how you're going to solve their problem. So let me share with you one example of how you would solve their problem. So this is a particular case. For example, I picked an application. That applications went through 13 office action at the US Patent Office. 13, that is very high. In this 13, it went through multiple RCs, multiple number of interviews, appeals, and still the company was going through a lot of iterations to get it granted. Now, when you are approaching a particular client, you should identify these kind of applications and tell them an approach of how to get them granted much more earlier. So when you tell them a way of how to get them granted much more earlier, you are easily conveying that how they can save a lot of money by hiring you as compared to somebody else. Now, how would you do that? How would you tell them that how you could help them get this granted much more earlier? For this, if you have access to few platforms, like these days, big data is very popular. So when I say big data, that means if you can use some analytics platform that can help you identify that which examiners are good, which examiners are bad, which examiners grant the applications in an easy way. So you would be able to tell them that the applications which are being examined by a particular examiner were easy to grant. It was just that the examiner was tough. You can give them that strategy. Or if you can study this examiner in more detail, you can exactly identify that what clicks a particular examiner. Now, this is a very easy strategy. If you know about a particular person and how he has taken a decision in past, you have much likelihood of predicting how he's going to act next. So you are just conveying that you are much more knowledgeable in terms of what is going to happen next as compared to their existing vendors. This again means that they are hiring an intelligent person as compared to any other law firm or any other attorney. So this is the point here. So let us take another example. What could be the intelligent ways to align the applications? So look at here. We picked one particular attorney, and that attorney was handling an application, and he was dealing with an examiner, Thomas Timothy. Now, if you see over here, we did some analysis using an exam analytics tool, and this examiner has a pretty bleak grant rate. Look at this, only 18%. That means if you get stuck with this examiner, there are very less chances that you can get the patent granted. What you would do next? Can you still get the patent granted or not? If you can give the answer to your potential client, you have giving him one more reason to earn the trust. So if you have access to any such kind of big data platform, you can actually go inside and figure it out that this examiner, does interviews work better with him or the amendments work better with him? It is just you are trying to solve the problem not by your experience, but by also having a factual information that what will work. And believe me, this works. When I say this works, that means this influences the decision of the people you are talking to. So here is the whole idea. Changing the traditional prosecution strategy to a smart prosecution strategy, you are just sharing to your client that you are not just like any other traditional law firm. You are an intelligent next generation of law firm which everybody wants to work with. So that's the whole idea, to show that how you are intelligent as compared to any other existing firm. So let us take more example what we mean here. Now it is not just about the new clients, it's something about the existing clients also. If you are with an existing client, you are getting some repeat work from them, you are not sure that you can get more work. But how can you identify if you can get more work from the existing client itself? Let's see. Let's suppose you are working with a particular client. Now that client is filing maybe 500 applications in a year, and he's giving you 150 applications. So what is happening with the remaining applications? Is it a better idea to approach new companies, or is it a better idea to get to your existing clients and get them for more work? So if you see in this particular example, if you have access to an intelligent tool, he can give you all the attorneys who are currently being used by your existing client. Simultaneously, it can also give you information about what are the grant rates of these law firms. Now, when I say grant rates of these law firms, I mean when they prosecute a particular application, how many applications they can get granted at the patent office. Now, let's suppose you are green. You have 100% grant rate at the patent office, but still you do not have all the business of your client. This is not an unusual scenario. This is the case with most of the law firms. Now I will tell you why. This happens because at the corporation sides, the IP council try to maintain different vendors or different law firms just so that they do not get stuck with one. They have variety, they have competition, they can their application is handled by different firms, but they do not measure. But if you can go back and show them that you have 100% grant rate of handling their application, whereas they are still working with few other vendors who have only 67% or less than that, you can easily get this business over to you and increase the number of projects. What happens is at the law firm side, this is difficult to see, and as the IPO counsel side, they never see this. So this is a second strategy, that rather than or only going after the new clients, try to look at these numbers of your existing clients and figure it out, that how you can be better than them, or how you can show that you are better than them and you deserve more work than the other clients. So before we proceed ahead, I have one question for all of you. And I am giving you a question. Tell me that, do you actually face problem in differentiating yourself with your competitors when you're talking to the client? Do you face problem or not? Or you have a very clear differentiating factor with respect to, we are more experienced, or we are more skilled, or these are not the differentiating factor. Every attorney is skilled. Every law firm is skilled. Every law firm is better. So let me just quickly give you the results. 80% of the people that we have here in such a large crowd believes that they face problem in differentiating. And I will tell you why this is happening. Because every attorney who is 20-year experience may face a problem in differentiating himself from a 10-year experienced attorney, because now the experience does not matter. What matters is that how good you are in your work, and the experience is not what quantifies it, because both can do the same work. And the situation is so tough that just based on your experience, you cannot just charge high amount. You have to give them enough facts or enough reasoning to select you. And that means if you have some factual data to tell them that you are better than the others, you're not giving them any other reason to deselect you. So let us take another example. So let's suppose that you have two individuals whom you are interviewing. So I take a lot of interviews in my company all the time. And let's suppose you are interviewing candidate A, who is pretty experienced, who can think that you think that he can do a pretty good work, knowledgeable, and you can absolutely select him. Now there's another individual who is also experienced, equally he might have done a similar kind of background as compared to the other guy. But when you are interviewing him, he gives you a lot of information about yourself. That means what you can do better in your business, how you can improve your processes, what your competitors are doing. And he gives you a lot of this information during your interview process. So which one you will hire? So you would choose A, who is experienced and knowledgeable, or the B, who is experienced and knowledgeable but also telling you a lot of things about yourself and your competitors. So who would you choose? A normal guy, good enough, or B, who knows a lot about you? Pretty straightforward question. Who would you choose? The one who tells a lot about you, or A, who is normal? So let's see. So here are the results. 86% of the people are choosing B. That means not the normal candidate, but the candidate who is also telling a lot of information about me. I like to hire people who are more interested than just knowledgeable. So that's the reason that every 20-year experienced attorney or every 10-year experience lawyer are not at the same level. These level differentiating factors come in because few attorneys educate their client a lot more as compared to the others. So this is what is one of the strategy that is being used by the law firm these days, or our clients whom we work with, to tell to their clients that how they can educate them more or showcase their expertise to their clients. So let me get back to where we were. So this is a perfect example of how you can show your expertise factually rather than quantitatively. So let us go forward and talk more about it. Now, if you are this, when you show your 100%, which is pretty impressive, and get the business or show to your existing client about the other law firm, you can clearly show that how your grant rate is better, how your grant time is better, how your office action, number of office action is less than that. And in addition to this, when you share about your experience, it forms much more impact as compared to the otherwise. In fact, there are a lot of clients, if you just share that you want to talk about how you can improve their quality of patents and reduce their budget, they would be more than happy to talk about you rather than that you want to talk and get your business. I am always open to talk to the people who are coming to me for increasing my business. But if they say that they're coming to me to get the work from me, I'm never interested to talk to them. So that's the whole thing about it. Now coming to strategy number 3. The strategy number 3 is very interesting. Let me give you an example before we move forward. So we were talking to one particular client, and we picked one application of the client and we just tried to check that who is the examiner who is handling the strategy. And we figured out that the examiner who is handling the strategy and the art unit in which this patent belongs is having a very low grant rate. That means there's a very bleak chance that this patent is going to get granted. So what we did, we shared with the client that we have access to a platform where, based on the history of how the patents have been classified into different art units, we can figure out if your application is going to get into an art unit which has a low grant rate or the area where the art unit has a higher grant rate. So if you see over here, this is how you do it. For example, you take the text of the application and you run it through the software. It gives you an idea that which are the terms which are making this application go into an art unit which has a very low grant rate. Now, you know that USPTO, how it classifies the applications into different art unit. The applications are classified based on some specific keywords. Now, those keywords are the one that you should be aware of. Now, if you have enough intelligence to figure out that how you can change those keywords so that you can take this application into another art unit, you have a magic power that you can give to the client to increase his grant rate. Now, if you go check this particular example, the way this application was drafted, it has few words that was taking it into a group art unit 3622. Now, this 3622 has a very low grant rate. What we did, we figured out a way that if you change this word, that is marketing, with another word, for example, merchandise, it completely shifts the art unit from what it was earlier to an art unit 2876 or 2194. Now, these two art units, or these two probable art units, were having 80% allowance rate as compared to previous art unit which had only 56% grant rate. Now you can see that how big was the difference. Now, when you are again approaching to a potential client, you can tell them that you have such kind of capabilities. It again differentiates you from all the others who are using a traditional way of prosecuting the applications, and you have a smart way of prosecuting the applications. And we have found out that the IP Council will love this because one of their KPI is how they can reduce their cost and increase their grant number of applications that can get granted. And if you can offer them this, you have much higher chances of being hired as compared to anyone else. So people like to work with intelligent people. Now, intelligence means that you have ways to take decisions which are not just based on experience, which the other law firms may also have, but you have more ways to figure out what will next happen. Now, the strategy number 4 is industry intelligence. Now, I will explain this to you with the help of a real-life example. Now, a couple of months back, I was in Atlanta, and there I was talking with a partner of a very large law firm. And he was talking to me about how he's consulting a particular very large company who is trying to get into 3D printing space. And his challenge was that he was not having enough background or enough information on how to gain their confidence that his firm should be selected for getting all of their business, which the firm was setting up for the 3D printing industry. Now, in that conversation, he said that if I could have something to show to my client in which he can see that we are very knowledgeable, we have very high chances of getting selected. And that was the key point. Now, I'm talking to you about the attorneys who are even sitting in the large law firms, the problems that they are facing. Now, this is equally applicable to every size firm. Now, so that means that if you are approaching a particular client, and if you can show him that how much knowledgeable you are in their industry, and you know that what their competitors are doing, and you know that what they are doing, and you can tell them that, for example, how much they are spending as compared to the others, and how efficient they are with respect to the others, this unconsciously creates a level of trust in between them. And we have also seen a lot of our clients using such kind of methods to get more business out of their existing client, more consulting business. This gives them additional billing hours with their clients where they discuss the strategy and tell them where they should spend more money or which areas they should file more patents because their competitors are doing. Now, this a lot of firms are not doing until their clients tell them to, which is so traditional way of doing it. If we talk about the people whom we are working with, all these law firms are getting much more ahead of all of their competitors. That means they're using these advanced ways of handling their clients, educating their clients, telling them how they're different, better than their competitors. It's very easy for them to earn their trust and the business. So now one of your question might be that how you can have their, the information like this to your client. Now, whatever I'm showing you, this is part of the platforms like Examiner Analytics. So when I say Examiner Analytics, there are a few companies like LexisNexis, Churistat, GreyB, who are offering such kind of things to their end clients. Now, if you have such kind of, if you want to try this with your existing clients or new clients, you can use any of these platforms. But what I can share with you is, once you start showing factual information to your clients, you will already are one step ahead of all the others who are using traditional way of doing this. So having said that, we talk about 4 strategies today, and now I'm opening the forum to the questions that any of you have with respect to the things that we discussed. So please type in the questions that you have, and I will answer them one by one. Great. So I'm just looking at the questions that you are typing so that I can answer. Okay, great. So one of the questions that we have is it necessary to have access to the platform, or you can just get answer to the question for one client or 2 clients that you are right now talking with? Good question. So as I told you that there are 2 or 3 companies that have such kind of platform. So if you talk about LexisNexis, they are right now only dealing with law firm-wide access. So if you are dealing with one-off cases, maybe they might not be your best choice. So, but if you approach companies like Juristat or GreyB, they may be giving you information for 1 or 2 clients as well, or about your competitors without having access for the tool or the whole tool for your whole law firm. So in that way, you can get the intelligence quickly as well without taking the complete access to the platform. Okay, so we have another question. So another question is that how can one differentiate oneself from the competitors when we talk about not just from the prosecution perspective, but also with respect to the prior art searching or infringement projects. I think when we talk about the, since this is majorly when we talk about the law firms, I think when we talk about the prior art searching, in that case, law firms do not differentiate themselves for their services when we talk about prior art searching. It is more about how better they can get the patent granted. Even if it is without the prior art search, it doesn't matter. So I think it may be more applicable to the IP services vendor as compared to the law firms. So this may not be applicable in this case. All right, so the next question goes is that, is this something that can be used in Europe? Sorry, no. Right now this is only available for US PTO, and maybe it's because that US PTO has exposed a lot of information with respect to their examiners, how they prosecute, and how they handle the different cases. So by using the softwares, you can easily figure out that what is the behavior in past for a particular examiner. You can figure out how a particular attorney has examined, what has been in past grant rate. You can tell them much better as compared to Europe or Australia or other countries. So as of now, this is applicable to only United States as compared to the others. All right, so the next question goes to how you can get the business from the international clients. So I suppose this is coming from the US. Person is US. Okay, yeah. So I don't know if you're aware of not. We did one analysis 2 years back, and what we found out that 80% of the cases in the United States, that means 80% of the patents that are filed. So if 500,000 patents were filed last year, 80% of them were filed only by 16% of the lawyers. Can you imagine that? 16% of the lawyers are handling 80% of the patents. And this blew us away. And this was happening, and we thought that how is this happening? Then we figured, because the 16% of the lawyers cannot actually draft that many patents. And we later figured out that this was happening because all of these 16% of the lawyers were filing patents for the companies based out of China, Japan, and Korea. So that means they were not drafting. They were just filing. They were taking the filing fee for all these patents that are being filed at the patent office. So that means if right now you are looking for a new clients, it's better, or it may be much more advantageous if you look at acquiring the international clients as compared to clients locally, because that will give you bulk of the work rather than talking about only the work which a US client will give you. So this, we can have a separate session where we can talk about this thing, but that was a very big differentiating factor, which we figured out that only few lawyers are making a lot of money there. So So next question that we have, I think this is coming from Swati, is how can you differentiate the strategy from existing and new clients? I'm not sure if I'm clear with the question that how you can differentiate the strategy from existing and new clients. I think, majorly if I talk about, which a lot of people ignore, is that how much work you can get from the existing clients. It takes a lot of work to get a new client in. If you just look at your existing clients, and if you can share a lot of intelligence with them, they have more likelihood of trusting you because you're already working with them, giving you more work as compared to you working to get the new clients. And at GreyB, we have figured out that this has worked with us in an amazing way. That means, the people who have been working with us 7 years back, they are still working with us all of these while as we slowly added the new clients. And we continuously increased our work with the existing clients. That means increased means whatever they were giving last year, we increased the work with them the next year only by educating them more, showing them that we are intelligent. Everybody, as I said, everybody wants to work with intelligent people. Nobody wants to work with the people who, who are doing just monotonous work. If you're doing the monotonous work which is done by anybody else, I would not show them more monotonous but replaceable work. Nobody wants to work with you. So that's the crux here. That just if you are showing to your existing clients that you are intelligent and you are continuously giving him new information like the one that we talked about a few minutes back, you have much likelihood of being used by your existing client for the new things as compared to the old clients. So give your existing client more ideas. You will get more consulting time with them. That's the best way to do it. So yeah, so that's about it. I think, let me look. So that was about it. I think we are going to close. We wanted to have a quick session on this. If anybody of you have more questions, feel free to email me. I think you already have my email ID, and we will be more than happy to answer that for you. Plus, for all the people who are there who wants to have a free access to the exam analytics tool, you just need to respond to me because you are a part of this session. We'll give you 1 month free access to a tool that we have, which will give you all this information for your existing clients and the new clients. Just send us an email. You will get the access. Thank you very much. Have a nice weekend. Bye-bye.